Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Tuesday, August 4th, 2026, and you're listening to Alex's News. The high in Riverside will reach 98.3 degrees today, with a low of 68.8. Please make sure to stay hydrated and find some shade if you find yourself spending time outdoors in that heat. Regarding today's top stories, we are examining the systemic failures that prevent California from effectively tracking instances of teacher misconduct within the state. Along with that in-depth look at the educational landscape, we will be covering several other important headlines that you need to be aware of to start your day. There is a lot to get through as we break down the latest events. All of this and more coming up on Alex's News. Stay tuned. This morning we're looking at a story about school safety in California. Lawmakers there have tried and failed again to close a loophole that lets accused teachers slip between districts. Ethan, welcome. What exactly happened here?
Thanks, Grace. So as of today, August 4th, 2026, California lawmakers have failed for a second time to set up a comprehensive warning system. The idea was to stop teachers accused of misconduct from quietly moving between school districts. According to reporting from ProPublica and KQED, the state still has a fragmented setup. That means problematic educators can find new jobs even after reports of sexual harassment or other misconduct.
A second time. So who made the most recent push to fix this?
The latest attempt came in June 2026, just 2 months ago, from Democratic Assemblymember Al Muratsuchi. His proposal would have created a searchable database that would let school districts see if an applicant had been reported to the state licensing agency after being fired or resigning for misconduct. It was actually modeled on a 2025 law that already requires a similar database next summer.
Wait, so a database like this already exists? Just not for teachers?
That's right. The 2025 law mandates that kind of database due by the summer of 2027, but only for school support staff. We're talking bus drivers, custodians, and teaching assistants who have substantiated complaints of egregious misconduct, so the framework's already there for those workers. Muratsuchi's bill simply wanted to extend the same protection to public school teachers. And that's where things got complicated.
Complicated how? Who pushed back on it?
Two main groups opposed it, Grace. First, the teachers' unions, specifically the California Federation of Teachers and the California Teachers Association. They argued the database would violate privacy and subject innocent educators to unfair treatment. Their lobbyists, Tristan Brown and Seth Bramble, warned the language was just too broad. They said it could sweep in what they called, quote, possible misconduct, end quote, and cost teachers their jobs over unfounded allegations.
That's the unions. You said there was a second group?
Yes, and this one's surprising. The state's own licensing agency joined the opposition, the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. Their government relations manager, Jonathan Howard, told Assemblymember Muratsuchi something striking. He said complying with the bill would, quote, require commission staff to commit crimes, end quote. That's because current state laws restrict what the agency can actually share during active investigations.
So the agency was saying the law would force it to break other laws. What did Muratsuchi do then?
Faced with all that resistance, he ultimately scrapped the database part entirely. Instead, he amended the bill to focus on penalizing administrators who fail to thoroughly vet applicants. But that shift had a cost. It led the Association of California School Administrators to withdraw its sponsorship. So he essentially lost a key backer by trying to save the bill.
And you mentioned this was the second failure. What was the first?
Right. This most recent collapse followed an earlier, similar attempt by Republican lawmakers that included Assemblymember Tom Lackey and Assemblymember Kate Sanchez. Their effort also hit roadblocks earlier this year. So we've now seen bipartisan attempts fail, from both Democrats and Republicans, which really shows how entrenched this problem is.
So with both bills dead, what's left protecting students right now?
What's left is what advocates call a patchwork system, and it has some dangerous gaps. School districts are required to report teachers who are fired or resign due to misconduct. But the state licensing agency is legally restricted in what it can share. And here's the real problem. The disciplinary process typically takes about 1 year to complete.
A full year? So a teacher could be rehired before that process even finishes?
Exactly, Grace. That's the core danger. Teachers can often be hired by a new district before the state has even concluded its investigation, so a candidate might be teaching somewhere new while their old case is still open. There's currently an online database of credentialed educators that uses a red flag icon to show if a teacher's been disciplined. But it's pretty limited.
Limited in what way? A red flag sounds like it tells you something.
It tells you very little, honestly. The system doesn't provide links to documents, and it doesn't explain the reasons for the sanction. Prospective employers can only request a summary of the case after the agency has officially recommended discipline. There is a 2024 law that requires candidates to share their full job history. It also mandates that districts ask previous employers about substantiated complaints of egregious misconduct.
So doesn't that 2024 law fill the gap?
Advocates say it doesn't go far enough. One of them, lobbyist Dorothy Johnson of the Association of California School Administrators, argues a centralized database is really the only way to get timely and complete information. Asking previous employers relies on people volunteering details, and that can be slow or incomplete. A single searchable system would put everything in one place. Without it, districts are left piecing things together on their own.
This clearly isn't just a California story. Has it drawn national attention?
It has. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon announced a national crackdown on the handling of sexual misconduct back in July 2026, so just last month. And she specifically pointed at teachers' unions as obstructions to reform. She highlighted a KQED ProPublica investigation with some alarming findings. That reporting really put numbers to the scope of this problem.
What did that investigation actually find?
It found the California licensing agency failed to revoke credentials for at least 67 educators. These were people whom districts had determined committed sexual misconduct or harassed students. And of those, at least 14 were rehired by other schools. So this isn't hypothetical. Real teachers with substantiated findings against them ended up back in classrooms elsewhere.
Is there a specific case that illustrates how this plays out?
There is, and it's a troubling one. A prominent example is Jason Agan, a Bay Area math teacher. He was hired by 2 different schools after an independent panel found he had sexually harassed female students and massaged their shoulders. Even with those findings, he kept getting rehired. And here's the part that really underscores the transparency problem.
Go on. What happened with Agan?
Agan was only removed from his classroom the day after the news story was published. So it took public reporting, not the internal system, to get him out. That's exactly what advocates are worried about. When the warning system fails, journalism ends up doing the work that the state was supposed to do. And that's a pretty fragile safety net for students.
So where does this leave things now, as of today?
For now, California's stuck with that patchwork, Grace. Both the Democratic and Republican efforts have stalled. The teachers' unions and even the Licensing Commission raised objections that lawmakers couldn't resolve. The reporting from Holly McDeed, published July 31st, just a few days ago, lays out how these gaps persist. So until lawmakers find a version everyone can accept, districts are largely on their own when vetting new hires.
Ethan, thank you for walking us through a complicated and important story.
My pleasure, Grace. Thanks for having me.
Here are some other headlines. Starting off with some heavy lifting in the legal department, 25 states are trying to put a stop to the Trump administration's latest trade tactics. On Monday, August 3rd, a coalition led by New York Attorney General Letitia James, along with Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, North Carolina, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Virginia, Vermont, Washington, and Wisconsin, filed a lawsuit to block new tariffs. The administration used Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 to slap forced labor tariffs between 10 and 12.5% on the European Union and 59 other countries, covering 99% of American imports. The states argue this is just a pretext to bring back import taxes that the Supreme Court struck down in February and temporary 10% worldwide tariffs that expired at midnight on July 24th. It seems the administration is trying to trade up for new taxes, but the states aren't buying it. White House spokesman Kush Desai is defending the move, claiming it is a lawful way to handle foreign countries that fail to enforce bans on goods made with forced labor. This isn't the only fight in court, as two small businesses also filed lawsuits in the Court of International Trade back in July to challenge those same tariffs. Moving over to the Great Lakes state, Michigan voters are heading to the polls today, Tuesday, August 4th. It is a high-stakes showdown in the Democratic Senate primary, where Haley Stevens and Abdul El Sayed are battling it out to see who will be the party's nominee for Senate. We will see who manages to primary the competition as the ballots roll in. In other news, things are getting a bit too revealing in the legal world. XAI has filed a lawsuit against Minnesota's nudification law, which went into effect on August 1st. The law targets the creation of non-consensual explicit imagery, with those who break the rules facing a hefty fine of $500,000. It looks like XAI is trying to strip away these regulations, but the state is standing its ground. And finally, keep an eye on your pharmacy bills. Reports indicate the Trump administration is ending a Medicare drug subsidy program. This move is raising a lot of eyebrows and causing a fair amount of concern over how healthcare costs will climb for seniors in the future. It is certainly a bitter pill for many to swallow. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Opus 4.8, Gemini Pro 3.1, Gemini Flash 3, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.